Hello, my name is Taylor. I live in a 35-foot long skoolie with my pup and my significant other, and I'm getting ready to make some loaded potato soup, but I am also going to make some like dumplings to go into the potato soup because I don't know, I feel like it's going to be really good, and I wanted to bring you guys along with me. So usually I do make like homemade noodles and things like that, but I really wanted to make some dumplings to go into this loaded potato soup because it is really cold outside, and I just feel like we need something that is going to be really filling and warm us up, and what better to do that than some loaded potato soup. And then of course by adding the dumplings in, it's only going to make it more filling. And I've never had dumplings in a loaded potato soup, but I've also never lived in an unfinished schoolie until, well, just a couple months ago. So obviously I like to try new things, but for real, we are living in the schoolie. It's been officially almost 3 months since we moved in. We've owned the bus for almost 3 years now, I think. So yeah, it's been about 3 years and just a few months that we've owned it. So we definitely took a while to save up, and then it took a while to do the framing, and then we kind of moved in without really expecting to, but we were like, it's actually around the timing that we were hoping, even though the bus is nowhere near finished. So yeah, we kind of just moved in unexpectedly and just decided to go for it. And honestly, we are both very low maintenance. We don't need to have a lot of stuff, and we can adjust pretty well. I mean, we went from living in a 2-bedroom trailer to a 35-foot long school bus. Now, we don't have running water yet. We will have running water in at least the shower, we know for sure. If it's an easy enough process, we will be extending that to the kitchen sink as well. But right now we are able to like wash dishes and stuff in the kitchen sink because we have like this little drain jug thing underneath the sink that catches all of the gray water, since we don't have a gray tank yet. And we just use our spring water with a little pump connected to it to get it into our cups and whatever we need to use water for. Here, actually, I need some water, so I'll show you. It's just like this. It's just a little pump. Oh. And then you can just press the button and it comes right out, just like that. First, I'm gonna make the dough for the dumplings because it does need to sit for a few minutes before actually rolling it out. And I just do this by slowly adding in. I did about 2 cups of flour, and then I did 2 eggs, and then I added in about a half a cup of water. I like to start small with the water because sometimes you don't need that much. Sometimes you do, depending on the size of the egg. Sometimes it's different. And usually I always have to go back in and add some more flour. You would think I would learn just to put more flour or extra flour anyways, but I don't. So here we are adding some extra flour, and we're just gonna work this in here until it's not like so stringy, if that makes sense. Honestly, you guys, the best way to get this really worked in and make sure that you have enough flour, because you want it to just kind of be in a big dough ball, and you don't want it to just kind of flatten back out. And if there's too much liquid in it, it will just flatten back out. But honestly, the best way to do it is just get your hands, put some flour on it. It's still going to stick a little bit. That's okay. You can't be afraid to get messy when you're making homemade stuff. But you're just going to kind of flippy flop it around in the bowl and kind of pick up the flakes and shove them back in there if anything falls off. Really, it shouldn't be that dry to where things are falling off, but some pieces of it will, and that's okay. Okay, so pretty much got it how I want it. It's not like too super like, you know, stringy, like liquidy. It's got enough flour. I can roll it around in my hands. That's usually how I tell that it's got enough flour. I can roll it around in my hands and toss it like that without it getting stuck on my hands directly. So now we're just going to let this sit for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'll bring you guys along for the rest of the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some water boiling in this pot. We don't currently use our propane stove yet because we got to get the hook up to get the propane to the stove. But we do have a propane stove right here full and working and installed, but we got to get the propane connected to it. So for now, we just use a little electric burner, and we're gonna get our water boiling because that's the first thing we need. All right, we've got the water in here. Now we're gonna let it boil, and then we'll get on to the next steps. All right, so now we're gonna take, I like to get these little soup packet things. They have all different flavors, like chicken noodle soup and broccoli cheddar soup. And you just add water to it. And this one opened up all funky, but you just add water to it, and then you kind of whisk it in. I just dump it all in there, and then I use a fork to whisk it in real good. And then we're just gonna put the lid on and kind of let it do its thing for about 10 minutes. So what I've been doing is I rolled out the dough that we made earlier, and I've been cutting it into kind of just thicker dumpling-like shapes. Sorry, I got a phone call, but not round dumplings, but dumpling-like shapes from Cracker Barrel. Do I have... Dad? Look at my nose. Nothing?
You better, you said
It's on there. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move that controller so we don't get that wet. And I have this Progresso loaded potato with bacon soup, and this chicken and rice. We're just gonna throw this into the soup pot. And then we're going to stir this up, and I'm just going to let it heat up a little bit before we add the dumplings in. So yeah, that's what we're waiting on. So now this is nearly boiling. Honestly, I'm just a little tired of waiting, so we're gonna go ahead and throw these in here, and then we're gonna let it reach the boiling point and just continue to let these cook until they're done, and then it's all done and it will be ready to consume, and it's gonna be super freaking delicious. At least it smells like it's gonna be super freaking delicious. All right, last two dumplings going in, and now we're gonna just let it get nice and really hot and really cooked. And we're probably gonna get really cooked too real quick. So the dumplings are just about done. So now I'm gonna make a couple peanut butters with some special peanut butter, and yeah, then you guys are gonna be able to see what the potato soup ended up looking like, and it smells freaking amazing. So we're definitely excited to eat it. All right, here is the finished product. There's a dumpling. You've got some carrots, potatoes, bacon bits, and yeah, some good soup. So
That's really good.
make sure you give me a follow if you're not following me yet, and let me know if you need me to send you the steps to make this, because I know this video is kind of long.